Hey everyone, welcome to the Web3 Music Wrap-Up, helping musicians, collectors, and enthusiasts stay plugged in as we work to change the industry. I'm Russ, and today we're going to be talking about the latest projects, initiatives, and tools that anyone who wants to be involved in the space needs to know about. Alright, let's jump right into it, and as always, you can find links to everything we talk about today down there in the description in order in which we talk about it. And the first thing we're going to cover here is some educational content from Blockchain Brett called CreatorDAOs Gonna Make It. And this is a great article that's educational. I'm teaching people more about creator DAOs and how Blockchain Brett sees those evolving in the future. Now, I find creator DAOs or communities built around individual artists very interesting because it allows for a closer relationship between these artists and their fans, allowing artists to create unique experiences for those fans, and while also giving like the surface area for more collaboration between those fans and the creators, and creating more of a community around a music rather than just this one-to-one relationship of fan and creator. Now, there are a lot of different models for how a creator DAO can be structured, but most of the time it involves some sort of token that a community member holds, and they use that token to gate access to a Discord server. And oftentimes creators will commit a certain percentage of the amount of ETH perhaps that they earned selling NFTs or selling anything that they're selling to a community treasury, which the token holders can then manage. Now, let me explain why I think this is so interesting. Now, imagine you're an artist with a niche but passionate following, and you're hoping to grow your brand and grow your music. Oftentimes you'll be forced to sort of take on tasks that aren't sort of central to you actually doing the creating that maybe you enjoy most, and that leads to you ending up doing like social media work or design work or anything like this, or at least hiring this out to someone else, and that causes some problems, right? If you were to hire this work out to another individual, maybe they don't get the vibe that you're going for, maybe they don't really even care about your music at all and are just doing it for a payday. That's how things traditionally work in the Web 2 world. But in this creator DAO model, maybe that niche group of fans has centralized into a Discord that you can sort of communicate with, and you realize, hey, this one individual from this community has absolutely killer graphic design skills. Now, not only could that individual use those talents to help market the growth of your music pro bono because they just love the music that you create, but also because of the sort of treasury mechanisms that we talked about before, well, perhaps either via the individual creator token or maybe ETH that's in the treasury, the community could vote for that individual who has those talents to be funded in order to do the work that you would have to otherwise hire out. Now, again, like I said, you're going to get someone who actually understands your music and knows the angle that you're going for, instead of someone that you have to hire out who maybe doesn't fit the role. We're just scratching the surface of creator DAOs and how musicians can spin these up around themselves to capture the value and energy of their audience more effectively, but I recommend this article if you want to get a little bit more in depth with how these creator DAOs work, so check that out from Blockchain Brett. Next up, I want to go over some milestones, and this is a big one for catalog, selling $2 million worth of catalog records on the primary market, the original sales of those catalog records. Now, that's a big deal for catalog, this NFT minting platform that sort of positions itself as the definitive version of a musician's NFT. It's usually made in one-of-ones, very rare editions that collectors can collect to support the individual artists, or maybe get also access to certain things that those artists are promising to go along with these catalog one-of-one pressings. So a huge congratulations goes out to Catalog for reaching this milestone, and a thank you for creating these creator tools that actually allow musicians to monetize their work in a more effective way, certainly more effective than through Spotify or some of the other traditional methods and avenues. But moving on to another organization here that is doing big things in the creator tools and platforms for music NFT space, we have a post here about sound, and this is from Masari Capital, who's recently put out an article. It's behind a paywall, so you might not be able to read the whole thing if you don't have a Masari subscription here, but we're looking at this chart right here from Masari that's tracking sound secondary sales, and they're saying that it's approaching $1 million on OpenSea. Now, when they're talking about secondary sales, this is not the primary sales we talked about with Catalog. No, this is people who have purchased the original music NFTs released on Sound and then sort of sold them on the secondary market afterwards, sort of making a case for the demand that's out there for these NFTs. Now, what I think Sound is doing such a great job of is creating the experience around minting these musicians' NFTs. They sort of do it on a regular cadence with releases happening around 5 p.m. Eastern each day, and allowing for the community that's supporting an artist and that artist to get together in a Twitter space and get an idea of what went into the song and what maybe benefits the collectors are going to get. And also on the interface, the UI itself, it shows each individual collector on that screen that's like showcasing that individual song. So you can sort of see the other people that are collecting with you, and you can go to different people's profiles on Sound. So we've covered this in a previous Web3 Music wrap up, so you can check that one out. Maybe I'll put a pin right here so you can take a look at that interface, but of course you can find a link in the description as well. And speaking of Sound, they work into this next milestone update, and this is from Good Karma DAO. We've talked about Good Karma DAO before. They are a decentralized music label, actually trying to sign artists to a label governed by token holders who own a proportional stake of Good Karma Records, that label itself. Now this is interesting because the first artist they signed is Daz Merchant, and they were able to drop their original and Genesis Sound NFT, and that sold out within 25 seconds. So a success here for Good Karma DAO and Daz Merchant and Sound as well. The next milestone to talk about is something that I've personally been working on along with some other friends that are members of FWB or Friends with Benefits, and that is the FWB Artist in Residence program. We put together a proposal and submitted it to FWB, which is the DAO, and the members of FWB voted that through, and as a result, we're able to distribute $18,000 US dollars in funding to 3 artists that were selected by the DAO community itself, Asha Dahomey, as well as Will Weeb and Joey Burback. And I'm so pumped that this has been able to be pushed through, because I hope that it sets the precedent that these DAOs and organizations that just sort of talk a big game about supporting culture and wanting to grow Web3 culture actually put their money where their mouth is and support the artists from within that community. So this is the first sort of cohort of this. And if you're an FWB member, you can check out the FWB Artist Residency channel in the Discord to learn more about the program, learn more about these artists that we're able to support, and tune into the artist talks where we're going to be doing interviews and sort of Q&As with these individual artists. Next up, we're going to talk about Seed Club's Accelerator program, a program that takes potentially promising Web3 projects and puts it in front of the eyes of other collaborators and educators that can provide advice to help push these projects forward in the best way possible. Now, Seed Club's a great organization that's been doing this now for 4 different cohorts, but this individual cohort actually has quite a lot of music-related projects being sort of spun up and supported through the Seed Club ecosystem, so I wanted to take a look at some of these. First off, we have Colors, who are creating a DAO to include their global community of artists and creators in our activities, ranging from curation, contextualization through editorial, to ongoing support and sustenance through network access and funds. Now, this is interesting because Colors has a fairly large Web 2 following, so it's going to be interesting to see how they sort of transfer this over to this more Web 3 side of things. We also have here Floppy. The team at Floppy is seeking to introduce and innovate Web 3 platforms for new to blockchain music producers and existing crypto enthusiasts alike, building the first-person sampler 3D game environment in which you'll be able to interact with their decentralized audio workstation, modeled after contemporary digital audio workstations with an old-school spin. Now, this is really cool because this is something that's sort of been spun up and supported within Songcamp, a community that I've been a part of for quite some time, but we'll talk about them a little bit more. Of course, you should follow all of these organizations and these projects. Links are down there in the description. We also have MuseDAO. It's been extremely detrimental to classical musicians throughout the pandemic, with musicians leaving their professions because they can't support themselves within the industry. And MuseDAO is firmly committed to utilizing this emerging asset class of social tokens to help musicians earn and sustain wealth. So that's going to be interesting to watch as well. And here, finally, we have Music OS. I believe this is from folks that are also involved in Songcamp, and the goal of Music OS will be to build an interface that acts as a Web3 dashboard for musicians and fans, like Zapper is for DeFi. This should be for Mere crowdfunds, catalog sound, and other popular tools. Now, I'm super excited about this one. I'm a regular Zapper user. This is like a Web3 dashboard where you can input your wallet address and it shows you all of the tokens that you hold, be it ERC20 or fungible tokens or NFTs, more collectibles. You can see that all in one place, and I think it's going to be really cool to have one of these that fits into the Web3 music realm. Next up in our platform spotlight is Glass. Now, I don't think we've talked about Glass quite a lot on the Web3 music wrap-ups, but it's quickly becoming one of the premier spots for musicians to upload and make NFTs of their music videos, one-of-one editions of these music videos. I believe there's some other places where you can do this, such as Zora, but Glass is one that's definitely stepping up here, and I've actually heard that there's rumblings of being able to actually live stream to the NFT itself, so that could open up some future possibilities for what people are able to do with the Glass protocol. And there are some people that have been utilizing Glass to launch NFTs, and this is a particularly interesting example of it. Lack Honey, who has recently released a music video here on Glass, and they were able to sort of put together a party bid to purchase the NFT. Now, party bid is a way that people can collectively sort of round up funds and use it to bid on any NFT in an auction, or even just to purchase an NFT. Now, this is very cool because instead of one individual owning the NFT, everyone owns fungible tokens that represent proportional shares of ownership over the one NFT. So if it doesn't make it clear, it's like everyone has little parts of it and owns it, and as a result, in some instances, the artist can end up earning a little bit more, because where there may not have been one collector that could drop a bunch of ETH on collecting one of your music video NFTs, you're able to sort of crowdfund that across many people. And it's not just Lack Honey who's doing this successfully. We have other artists here who are dropping music videos. Here we have Boy Untitled saying, "It's official, I just sold my Genesis NFT, losing time for 0.5 ETH on Glass Protocol. The first queer music video on the platform." That's absolutely amazing. Boy Untitled, or Mark, is a wonderful person, and also a member of Songcamp who I've interacted with a few times there. So huge kudos to Lack Honey and to Mark and to the folks over at Glass Protocol, who are, again, providing tools that give these artists and creators the optionality to actually fund themselves through creating music and music video NFTs. One of the ways I like to connect with other creators and enthusiasts who are excited about the Web3 music space is through actually showing up and being a part of Web3 music communities. Now, this is something I want to spotlight and show you how to do so that you can get in there and learn. And one of the largest communities that you can get involved in is Songcamp. Now, I've mentioned that a couple times throughout the call. Songcamp holds their weekly community calls, or their weekly heartbeat calls as they like to call it, at 4 p.m. Eastern every single Monday, and they've been doing that for 49 Mondays in a row. This upcoming one's about to be the 50. They're almost at 1 year. This is a great place to be, and all you really need to do to get involved is show up to that heartbeat call. It's an hour commitment out of your time, and you don't even need to come to every single one, but it allows for you to get a vibe of what's going on in the space and chat with other people who are interested in what you're interested in. A recent development from Songcamp is this great Camp Counselors public dashboard that many Songcamp members have been working on, and it gives you a lot of resources for diving deeper into some of these Web3 music resources and how you can get a better idea of what Songcamp is all about. On top of this, Songcamp is releasing or is starting their next camp called Camp Chaos within the next week, I believe, and that's a 6-week long sort of songwriting camp, but also Web3 experiment where everyone is in a focused way sprinting for those 6 weeks to create something quite cool, and the end result is different every single time. So you should definitely follow Songcamp, at least on Twitter, and follow along with what's created there. And if you hop on those community calls, perhaps you can be involved in the next Songcamp as well. But it's not just Songcamp that's experimenting with these communities centered around Web3 and music. We also have here Wave World, spun up by Karma and Violetta, and as well as supported by Cruz, among many other innovators and leaders in the space. Wave World is a great place that you can go, and they also have community calls on, I believe it's Thursdays at 12:30 PST. So that's a great place to go in the middle of the day if you can't make that Songcamp call, and sort of figure out what's going on in the space and how you can sort of become a part of this community that's going to help growing your network. Now, along the similar line, first I want to show you this. Wave World actually put on their inaugural showcase at ETH Denver, the Web3 Music Showcase, where over 200 plus people attended and checked out what was going on there. It's so cool to see these communities that are built online bridge their way into the IRL space so that everyone can meet. I can't wait until I can make it out to one and see everyone there. We also have Mashy Beats, something I've talked about before when we were covering Mark DeClive Lowe's other projects. But this was a Discord server that was originally spun up as Mark's personal server, but it's evolved into a growing community of enthusiasts that are supporting and educating each other as they go down this Web3 rabbit hole. And I believe that there's also the Mashy Beats creator program that they've been spinning up, helping to support a set of creators as they go through that whole journey. Mark has been a real advocate for onboarding people into the space, so you can check out Mashy Beats, and if those other times don't work for you, you can check out Mashy Beats community call, which I believe is Mondays at 10 a.m. PST. And I would really advise anyone who wants to get more involved in the space to show up to these calls and meet people that are also involved in the space. I think the best way to get involved is to build relationships through sustained participation, and it's not that much of a commitment to go to a call once a week, so I really recommend that you do that and get a vibe for what's going on and figure out how you can contribute. And I think it's important to recognize that absolutely nobody in this space really knows what they're doing. So you can get in there and bring your ideas and talk with people about how you can build out the ideas and the world that you want to see as we sort of transition from the Web 2 norm into what's going to become the norm, Web 3. This is a unique opportunity for people to get involved to actually build the world that they want to see. But that just about does it for today's Web3 Music wrap up. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any comments down there in the comment section. I read every single one and reply to as many as I possibly can. And also you can follow me on Twitter, where I'm retweeting and sort of posting about these Web3 things that maybe you'll want to see before one of these videos gets released. You can follow me again. That Twitter is in the description. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you next time.